You see them everywhere now, right? These massive solar arrays covering the huge roofs of our most important industrial buildings. They become the go-to symbol for green energy. But what if that symbol is hiding a pretty serious secret? What if we're accidentally installing a massive fire risk, hiding in plain sight, right over our heads?
So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden danger. We'll start with why warehouses are such a perfect fit for solar in the first place, and then we'll uncover the fire risk that's tagging along. We're going to get right into the science of how these fires start, see the simple mistakes that can cause a total disaster, and, most importantly, lay out the roadmap for building a system that's both sustainable and truly safe.
All right, so first things first. To really get a handle on the risk, we need to understand what's actually at stake. I want you to get that old idea of a dusty, dark warehouse out of your head. Today's industrial buildings are, well, they're basically high-tech, high-value nerve centers for logistics and manufacturing. Automation is completely taking over. We're talking fleets of robots, complex software, the whole shebang, all making these facilities incredibly efficient. But all that tech, not to mention the valuable goods flowing through them, means these buildings are more critical and way more costly to lose than ever before.
And right alongside this tech revolution, there's this huge push for sustainability. So you look at these giant, empty rooftops and think, what's the perfect solution? Cover them with solar panels? Of course. It promises clean power for all the robots inside and a big cut in energy costs. I mean, on paper, it looks like the ultimate win-win.
But this is where the story takes a sharp turn. What happens when that symbol of a green future becomes the very source of a disaster?
So you have to ask the question, what if this race to be green is introducing a danger that we haven't really stopped to think about? And the evidence shows this isn't just some theoretical what-if problem. It's real.
And look, this isn't speculation. A study from the technical experts at TÜV Rheinland tracked 350 fires, that's 350, involving photovoltaic or PV systems. And that's in Germany alone. Now think about the millions of these systems being installed all over the world. It's pretty clear this is a very real and, frankly, a growing problem.
And we're not talking about little flare-ups you can put out with an extinguisher. A fire that gets going on the roof doesn't just wreck your expensive solar panels, it can burn right through and take the whole building with it. Suddenly, your prized green asset has turned into a multi-million-dollar liability.
So why does this happen? How can a device designed to soak up the sun catch fire? To really understand the risk, we got to look at the science behind it. Okay, the main villain in this story is something called a DC electrical arc. You know the power in your house? That's AC, or alternating current. It's designed to naturally break an arc if one forms. But the direct current, DC, coming from solar panels, it's a different beast. Once a DC arc starts, it doesn't want to stop. It just keeps going, sustaining incredibly high temperatures. It basically acts like a non-stop blowtorch cutting into your roof. These super dangerous arcs really happen in two main ways. And you know what? Both of them usually come down to cutting corners. A series arc can pop up from just one single loose wire. A parallel arc can happen if the protective coating on a wire gets worn down, letting the electricity jump across. In almost every case, it's because of cheap parts or a sloppy installation job.
Another huge cause is something called hotspots. And this is kind of wild. If just one tiny part of a solar panel gets covered by something as simple as a fallen leaf or some dirt, it flips. It stops making power and starts sucking power from the cells around it. This creates a tiny hotspot that over time can break down the panel materials and get hot enough to actually start a fire.
And this is really the most crucial thing to understand. These fires aren't usually because the technology itself is bad. They're caused by mistakes, totally avoidable mistakes. So let's look at the most common and dangerous installation don'ts. Okay, first up, just look at this wiring. This picture of a total rat's nest of cables is a massive red flag. Every time the wind blows or the temperature changes, those wires are going to rub and chafe, and eventually that protective coating wears right off. That is a perfect recipe for an arc fire. Now compare that to the clean job, where every single cable is tied down, secure, and protected. Night and day. Next up, mismatched connectors. It seems like such a tiny detail, but trying to force parts together from different brands is a huge mistake. They just don't create that perfect watertight seal. Some moisture seeps in, corrosion starts, and you've created a little hot spot just waiting to ignite. The rule here is dead simple. Always use matching pairs.
And finally, not leaving enough space. When you install panels flat against the roof, you're doing two bad things. One, you're trapping heat, which makes the panels less efficient and increases the fire risk. And two, you're creating the perfect little trap for leaves and debris to build up, which leads directly to those dangerous hot spots we just talked about. Proper airflow underneath is absolutely critical.
Okay, so we've seen all the problems. Now for the good news. How do we fix this? How do we make sure a solar project isn't just green, but that it's genuinely safe and resilient for decades to come?
This right here really gets to the heart of the issue. A report out of Spain points out that their standard building codes and fire regulations have 0 specific requirements per solar panel installations. And this isn't just a problem in Spain. It's a huge regulatory gap in a lot of places. It means just being up to code might give you a totally false sense of security. You have to go further.
So what does going further actually look like? Well, it's really a 4-part strategy. 1, it starts with quality components, no knockoffs. 2, it means hiring expert installers who you know won't make those rookie mistakes we just saw. 3, and this one is so important, it means you demand an independent fire safety analysis from a firm that actually specializes in this stuff. And finally, number 4, you have to do ongoing maintenance, using tools like thermal imaging to spot problems before they ever have a chance to ignite. So let's bring this all home. The dream of clean, affordable energy pouring off our rooftops is real. But it comes with a risk that, while it's also very real, is, as we've just seen, completely manageable.
So here's the bottom line. The fire risk from solar panels is real, but it's not random. It almost always comes back to someone cutting corners, on the parts, on the installation, or on the design. And because the official rulebooks often haven't caught up yet, you just can't afford to be passive. Building a truly resilient system means you have to take charge, demand quality, hire proven experts, and get the safety verified independently.
Look, investing in solar is a smart move. It's good for the planet, it's good for the bottom line. Nobody's arguing that. But as we've seen, being smart isn't enough. It also has to be safe. So the real question you need to ask is, have you done enough to protect your investment from the fire that might be hiding in plain sight?